Okay.
Tired?
No, I'm good. Just sitting right here is nice.
Yeah.
Try to crank that bike up. Yeah.
Think you're really coming?
Who? Oh, yeah. I doubt it.
Really?
Yeah. All right, guys, we're about to get, we're just waiting for a few more people to get on, but we're gonna be installing a ring gear on this carrier. Right now, I have it in the oven. I'm baking it 350 degrees. I got the Loctite on the bolts, so we're gonna be mounting it to the carrier as soon as the carrier is heated up. Got it in there about 10 minutes at 350 degrees to get that ring gear nice and hot, and then it'll just slide on the carrier, and then I can start all my bolts. So I figure you guys would be interested in seeing that live, so we're gonna do that now. Let a few more people get on. Mesh, you know what size that is?
What's that?
That bolt?
17.
17. See, instead of convection, I put it on bake this time. All right, we got the ring gear nice and hot. We actually use a pizza oven to bake our gears on. Ring gears and bearings, I mean. Want to make sure it goes down nice and easy. I set me a bolt on this side to kind of act like a guide, or a guide pin, if you will. Just to where I'm aligned before I knock it down.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get it started with the bolt on this side. acting as a, like I said, a dowel pin. And that bolt started just fine, so I know it's aligned. And I can hammer it down flush. Here, I'll show y'all that. Oop. So got the bolts right here. Got it started. You can still see that there's a gap that needs to be knocked down before you run the bolts up. Yeah. So I'm just gonna start the bolts just so it goes down evenly by hand. All of them got it too.
But this one fell.
Oh, got you. When you running these bolts up, you want to make sure that you do a star pattern. And I'll show you all that. So I got a few of them in. I'm gonna go ahead and finish knocking the ring gear down. Shouldn't take much. It's pretty heated. You'll start to see it drop. Kind of work your way around, getting it seated and pressed on there. Sorry guys, how y'all doing? My live got interrupted for whatever reason. All right, so as I was saying, I got the ring gear heated, 350 degrees. We're pressing it on the carrier. So by heating it, it allows the ring gear to expand and slide right onto the carrier. And then now I'm just installing the bolts hand tight and getting the ring gear seated in place. As you can see, there's still a little gap, so we're gonna just continue to spin it and work it all the way down until it's fully seated. All right. All right, so now that I got the ring gear heated up, expanded, and dropped onto the carrier, let's see something. I can now go ahead and finish putting the bolts in hand tight. How's everybody doing this morning? We got a few people meshed, 5 likes and 45 people online. Yeah, are we the only ones doing mechanic work on this Saturday morning? Who else is doing mechanic work? Anybody? Getting ready for Santa Claus to pass, probably. Bring them new tools, yeah. Snap on. That's when you know you've been good, huh? Of course, these people on here, a lot of them, they complain about Snap on overpriced. What you think, Mesh? You think it's good quality, right? Some of it is overpriced. I think that's probably because you got to get the van to come deliver it, huh? So they charge you for that. Huh? Oh, is it? Just when you buy the tool, they'll just come around and drop it off? You can tell I've never bought Snap-on before. What is that fitting into? So this is a differential carrier, and it's going to be going into a Toyota Tacoma. And we are upgrading the gears from 373 to, what is it, 513, 536?
526 or some shit.
Yeah, like 526. And so we'll be installing that so that the customer can run bigger tires and not have to worry about his manual transmission lugging down. Give me a second. All right, so we always torque, oh shit, knocking everything down. We always torque the ring gear bolts. Once you have them all hand tight, you're gonna wanna run it up either with your impact or with a wrench and get them all just snug and even. And you'll notice the pattern that I'll go in to make sure that I've evened them all up. You want to go in a star pattern. All right, so now that we have it all snugged up, you can see the bolts are all installed. And using an impact, we've ran the bolts up enough to where they're snug on the ring gear. And then we're gonna grab our torque wrench, we're gonna look up the torque specs and see what torque value is required for a Toyota Tacoma front differential to see what the torque spec. I'm thinking the torque spec will be somewhere anywhere from 65 to 80, so but we'll check that out and I'll let y'all know. So I'm gonna move over to another spot where the press is so that I can use the press to hold the carrier so we can torque it down. All right, guys, so I'll show you all. This is what we're working on. It's a, what year, Mesh? 2021 Toyota Tacoma. We are changing the factory differential gears out to, I believe it's 536. I have to count the ring gear teeth and the divide. But I'm gonna bring y'all over here to the press. That way we can get set up to torque down on the ring gear bolts. And I use the press just because it holds the carrier in place while I torque it down. So I'm using it more as a vise than I am anything else. So we have these handy discs that we put on it. I'm just going to tighten it down. Okay, I need a 17 and my torque wrench. See if I can get you all adjusted a little bit where you got a better angle. All right. So now you can see the bolts a little better in what we're doing. Any questions, guys? Y'all just leave comments. I'm watching it live, so I can try to answer questions. If we can't answer it, we'll find y'all the answer. All right, so I'm just gonna put some pressure on the top of the carrier. That way it's holding the carrier in place and I can torque down on the ring gear bolts. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my torque wrench. 17.
I think it's 70.
Where is the torque wrench? 70. All right, so this is, for all you just joining and wondering, we are pressing the ring gear onto a carrier. We have the bolts tightened up. We're using the press to hold it in place, and then we're gonna torque down on all the bolts on top. The torque spec. So when you purchase aftermarket gears, as you can see, these are Yukon gears. It has the list of all the specs in which you should use when setting these gears up. So we are working on a Toyota Tacoma, and that's gonna be 8-inch clamshell front, right, Mesh?
Yeah.
So 8-inch clamshell front requires the ring gear bolts to be 70 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna adjust my torque wrench to 70 foot-pounds, so y'all can see that. There we go, foot-pounds. You can see there's 70. Oh, we're going down, we need to go up. Right. Is that 0? No, that's at 9. Hang on, guys. All right, so there's 70 foot-pounds. You can see that right there. The 0 marks on 70. All right, so we're gonna lock it in place, and then we're gonna start torquing down the bolts in a star pattern. Hello, how y'all doing for the ones that are just joining us? We got the ring gear mounted to our carrier. And we are torquing down on the bolts. Gonna get them all tightened up before I do the torque all the way around. Guys, if y'all enjoy the live, we'll do more of these. This is our first couple lives that we've done. People seem to enjoy it. So we'll continue to do lives if y'all think y'all would prefer that than the long videos. Alright, so I'm getting them snugged up all the way before we torque it down. That way you get a nice even torque. Sorry about the noise, we got the compressor running. Alright, so we're going to start here with the first one. Listen for the click. Alright, 70 foot-pounds. So then, what we're gonna do, we're gonna mark it next. You wanna mark the one you just torqued so that you know which one you did. 70 foot-pounds. All right. Again, we're doing it in a star pattern, so everything gets torqued down nice and level. While marking all our bolts so we don't over torque anything. All right, that one's done. Almost done, guys. We'll move on to the next thing. If you're seeing, yeah, I see what y'all saying about the inverted. It's the iPhone camera from the front. It looks like I'm going in reverse, but I'm actually not. I'm torquing the right direction. It's just inverted. I probably should fix that next time. Good catch. All right, 3 more left to torque. Again, this is the ring gear on the carrier for a Toyota Tacoma. We are torquing down the ring gear bolts because we are doing a front differential re-gear. Also a rear differential, but we're working on the front now. I'm just gonna verify, I'm just gonna go back and make sure each one clicks. You don't wanna over torque it, so stop when you hear it. All right. That way you make sure you've torqued each one. Tell you what, it's a hot Christmas this year, huh, Mash?
Yeah.
And I'm burning up in here. I'm gonna turn the fan on. All right. We are fully torqued to 70 foot-pounds. Ring gear to carrier. I'm gonna release this. And then I'll show y'all here by marking it. You didn't skip any bolts. I marked all the bolts. All right, cool. So I'm gonna bring this back to the work table and then we'll continue on. Let me bring this over here. All right, just to show y'all what we're working on here. This is a Toyota Tacoma, a 2021. We're doing a differential re-gear in it. Y'all excuse the shop, it's a mess. We stay busy, we stay doing gear jobs. And if y'all like what we're doing here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're increasing our subscription count. Hang on just a second, guys. Let me get set up to press the bearings on next.
There you go.
Press it. Where is the bearings mesh?
Make sure they both the same size. I'm pretty sure.
All right, guys, so next what we're gonna be doing is mounting the bearings to the carrier. So we just pressed the ring gear on right here, and we torqued everything down, and now we're gonna be pressing the bearings on both sides. So what we do for that is we have a press, but we find it easier, we just use a pizza oven. A lot of people get a kick out of that, but it works fantastic. So you're just gonna set to 350 degrees, throw your bearings in there, let them get hot. That way, the heat makes the bearing expand and it'll go onto the carrier easier. So while that's in there baking, I'll get my tool set up to drive the bearings on, and y'all be able to watch that being done. Let's see, I hate that I gotta keep moving it around, but so this is where we're at. We're gonna be putting the bearings on right there. All right, so give me a second. Let me get the hammer. Actually, I probably should be on. All right, so I'm gonna move us to a different work spot because if I do that, you'll be able to see it better. All right, so while the bearings are heating up in the pizza oven so that we can press them on our carrier, Chris here has got the clamshell for the front, clamshell housing, and we're gonna get these, the races pressed in. So he's using a tool to press the races in. I don't know if y'all could see that. He's using a wrench to tighten down on 2 solid pieces, and it's driving the race in. Let's flip it around. There we go. All right, now y'all can see it a little better. Nice idea. I used the chain vise anchored to my steel table workbench. Yeah, that sounds like a way easier way. Well, Sirius is the phone, okay. All right, what Mesh is doing is he is pressing the race into the clamshell housing of this Toyota Tacoma differential. I don't know if you can see just for a second, Mesh. Watch this hand. If you can see, we have a race driver, all thread and nuts, and we have a race driver on this end. And as we're tightening it down, it's collapsing and pushing, or pressing rather, it's pressing the race in. All right, so once he gets that pressed in, we are gonna continue what I was working on and get the bearings pressed onto the carrier. So that'll be next. We'll set that right there. That's the carrier. All right, so he pulled it out, and as you can see, it pressed the race right on in. So handy little tool that we made with all thread, and he used the all thread to press the race inside the, did I say carrier? Press the race inside the clamshell housing. All right, so while he continues working on that, we're gonna press the bearings onto the carrier. So I'm gonna get the carrier set right there, and then I'm gonna pull the bearings out of the pizza oven, and then I'm gonna press them on there, and you'll see how we do that. We find it easier just to knock it on instead of using the press. Works well. You can see our other videos where we actually did this exact same thing. So make sure you get it cleaned up, because where your bearing is gonna sit, you want that nice and clean. No debris, no nicks, chips, anything like that. If you have some, you're gonna grab a file and make sure you level it off, because your bearing is gonna need to sit flush. All right, so we'll grab them bearings and then I'll begin to press them on. Okay, Mesh, you got, where's the hammer? Okay, it's right there. And they're the same size?
That should be. I make sure that.
All right, guys, so the bearing is nice and hot. We put it in the oven. That way the bearing would expand because it is a press fit. Once we have it just seated on top, we're gonna press it down by using a driver. We'll just drive it down. So I'm gonna use another older inner bearing. And then I'm just gonna drive it down like so. See it dropping down? All right, and once it bounces, you know it's seated. You can listen to the tone, and you heard how it changed. I gotta do the other side so you'll be able to hear it better on that one. Let's see. And then you just wanna, it's still hot from being in the oven, but you wanna make sure nothing's catching and that everything is seated. One of the biggest things is to make sure you can see under the bearing. Make sure that you have seated it fully. So you look right here and make sure that it is seated and there's no gaps. All right, so I'm gonna flip it over and we'll do the other side. And just pay attention to the sound, how the sound changes. That's an indication of it being seated. I'm gonna flip it over. And again, make sure this side's clean and free of debris. And I'm gonna grab the other bearing. We got the bearing nice and hot, about at 350 degrees. If y'all missed it, we use a pizza oven in order to heat the bearings up. It works great. I'm gonna stick the bearing on there, and then I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put the old inner bearing and then a race driver, and then I'm gonna hammer in the middle. Watch as the bearing goes down, but also listen to the tone and how it changes. You heard that? That's how you know it's seated. And then again, once it's seated, you just want to do a check, make sure nothing's hung up, everything's good with the bearing, and it is, it's free spinning. So this bearing is pressed on the carrier and the bottom bearing is pressed on the carrier. So it's almost complete. All right, guys, we're gonna come back on. We're gonna take a little break, and then we'll continue finishing up this Toyota Tacoma, 2021 Toyota Tacoma re-gear. We're putting, I believe it's 536 gears in both the front and the rear of this 2021 Toyota Tacoma. I'll show y'all, we pulled the differential out. That's the front. And then in the rear, we have it out as well. And we're rebuilding the rear also. And Chris here is working on the clamshell.
The oil baffle.
Getting the oil baffle installed, getting the races. He's getting prepared to get the races pressed in. This is a clamshell from a Toyota Tacoma. We'll be back later. We're gonna go off. Hey, if you enjoyed the little presentation, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you can catch up when we do go live or when we post new videos. Thank you.